think it's certainly possible. In terms of theory, it is, but as we also found out in iGEM, theory can tell you something amazing, but then you try doing it in practice.
Then you will figure it out that what challenges are there.
Absolutely. Our project was essentially about to close, or the deadline for the project was in October. So essentially, I think we ordered in something like April or May, and it took that long just because of customs. How to properly do experiments and do controls and so on and so forth, or just how to work with a team, how to probably how to come to terms with what you've done and what wasn't able to be done. It's something that I think that was the main point of iGEM, that we learn.
It might look like unorganized, but at the end, if you're discussing together, then everything is fine.
We had teams from New Zealand, Spain, China, Saudi Arabia, the US, and so forth. They were all in the same, in our same category, so our competitors.
Within this short time period of 9 months or 1 year, if you figure it out that, I can do this for years and years, then yes, academia is for you.
Pretty much, yeah. Science is all about research that is meant to help people. If you don't tell them why you're doing the research or how it's going to help people, then it's essentially pointless.
Is it also kind of possible, because bacteria, they as I also mentioned, that bacteria sometimes transfer these genes or let's say plasmid to other neighboring bacteria. So is it possible to maybe make some non-pathogenic bacteria having this this antimicrobial peptide, which maybe pass on through this pathogenic bacteria, to use it as a carrier? Because right now you are just putting on bacteria.
Yeah.
So let's say if we don't know that, how should I say this, that let's say, so for viral infection, we say viral load. So it's same for bacteria as well. So let's say if someone is infected and we don't know how much the bacterial load, so how much dose we should give. So this has to be standardized, right? But if we have some bacteria which can transfer these plasmid to these pathogenic bacteria, then it will automatically probably kill that bacteria.
You are technically right about that in terms of theory, and I do believe that is something that is possible as such, but I'm not entirely certain about the immune response that might be associated with something like that. It could be...
Yes, but what about probiotic bacteria?
That is a very good point.
We already take probiotics, right? And these are harmless bacteria. So why not use it as carriers?
I think we just didn't do that out of biosafety reasons, I think.
Yeah. I'm just kind of putting this just out of curiosity. And I'm asking if whether it can be possible or not in future, let's say. Might be possible, right?
I think it's certainly possible. In terms of theory, it is. But as we also found out in iGEM, theory can tell you something amazing, but then you try doing it in practice.
Then you will figure it out that what challenges are there.
Absolutely.
So talking about challenges, what kind of challenges did you face during? So it was 8 months to 1 year program, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of challenges at several steps did you find? For example, after once you decided that, okay, this will be your project, after brainstorming and all the trials, then after that, what were the challenges?
Almost every single day was a challenge. Every single day brought a new challenge for us.
In terms of technical or something else?
Absolutely, just technical. Okay. Because the thing is, if I'm being entirely honest with you, we had certain things, for example, the entire system that we wanted to test was with a model organism called Pseudomonas fluorescens. Now this, we did some homology studies with this pathogen in order to see if it had certain proteins that were important for the specific promoter for the plasmid. We designed a plasmid, and we ordered the vector essentially, and a plan was to then clone in the individual things and test it out on the model organism, Pseudomonas fluorescens. We didn't get that in time. We got the plasmid at the end of August, I think, with everything being, our project was essentially about to close, or the deadline for the project was in October. So essentially, I think we ordered in something like April or May, and it took that long just because of customs.
Oh.
These are things that we couldn't have done in any other way. It was just something that was just very frustrating. Okay. And there were, of course, other problems, like trying to do protocols exactly to what was present in the literature and not getting the exact same results. It is, however, something that is to be expected when you put a bunch of bachelor's and master's students who have essentially just had their study experience and maybe a few internships as such in places, and then suddenly being put in charge of a project for 9 months, that is something totally fine. And I believe it was all right because we all learned something.
Yeah.
We also learned something new, be it how to properly do experiments and do controls and so on and so forth, or just how to work with a team, how to probably like how to come to terms with what you've done and what wasn't able to be done. It's something that I think that was the main point of iGEM, that we learn.
Indeed, yeah. So what about supervisor or someone? Was there someone whom you can, let's say, have a discussion or maybe troubleshooting discussions or so?
Absolutely. So aside from our two principal primary investigators, Dr. Nicole Gensch and Dr. Pavel Salevi, who helped us extremely a lot. Aside from them, we also had a lot of supervisors. So these are former members of the iGEM Freiburg teams from the years 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
They essentially helped us a lot with planning experiments, with telling us what could be done and what couldn't be done. Each of these supervisors was involved with a specific subgroup.
Okay.
So for us, we had, for example, Konstantin at the very beginning. But you also have supervisors like Leon Samuel Icking and Anna. I can't pronounce it. Yeah, Anna. Who've helped us, who essentially helped every subgroup.
Okay.
They went through all our experiments, told us what would actually work and what are things that we could have done and what are things that we should probably avoid or not do, largely due to time concerns. It was, of course, very interesting, I would say, to have that sort of experience from some. And I think we benefited greatly from the fact that our supervisors, well, regardless of which, how do I put this, which field they were in. Perhaps they were in sponsorships, trying to get us more funding. Perhaps they were in human practices, telling us how to properly articulate what we want to express and stuff like that. Or perhaps they were completely in the experimental sections, telling us, okay, you've got to do these and these experiments, and you've got to do the following controls.
And
all of them very important.
How your team was like kind of communicating, because it's a large team, right? How many
14 members.
14 members. So how everyone was like kind of having a track of each other. So like was there any team leader or as such?
I wouldn't say there was a team leader, but instead of a team leader, we had a specific subgroup, the organizational subgroup or the Orga subgroup. Okay. Their goal was, their goal was to sort of organize everything that we had to do. So be it planning meetings with professors and so on and so forth. But I would say, for the most part, we were a bit disorganized, but not in a bad way or anything. Okay. Rather, each of us had different roles. Perhaps you were doing experiments, but at the same time, you were trying to communicate with professors, with experts in the field, in order to gain their advice and integrate their advice into the project. You were maybe also trying to do sponsorships in parallel, trying to write emails to companies. You would have also probably been involved with other things. So, yeah, it was disorganized, but it went amazingly well.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that's how a team works. When you divide the team in subgroups, and individual team have different tasks. And yeah, it might look like unorganized, but at the end, if you're discussing together, then everything is fine. Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot about this funding and sponsorship. So how did you guys manage to do this? Like, did you reach out to any company or maybe SIPs or University of Freiburg? How did you get the funding?
So our main sponsors are obviously the University of Freiburg, SIPs, BIOS, and the Faculty of Biology and so on and so forth. These institutions are the ones that provided us with the most amount of money in order for us to register, for our team to actually go to Paris, to attend the event, accommodation, all those sort of things, and of course all the lab that we have, lab materials and so on and so forth. But in parallel to all of this, we also contacted some companies, New England Biolabs, IDT, Zymo Research, Ratiolab, and so on and so forth. We contacted these companies and they gave us various benefits. So IDT, for example, gave us the ability to synthesize DNA fragments. New England Biolabs provided us with kits and so on and so forth. I would say we essentially just tried to write emails to them. We sometimes met with them in person and we made out deals. It was quite nice.
Great. So was it a kind of collaboration thing? Like, for example, if they are giving some kit or something and then you are advertising through your, let's say, social media team or so, like this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's the best thing to get some free stuff as well as some funding.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I would say our social media team also did extremely well there.
Yeah, I can already see from the Instagram channel. So yeah, you guys are doing pretty well in terms of advertisement and in terms of teamwork as well. I could see from Instagram stories. So yeah, do follow iGEM Freiburg for maybe future, because I think it passes on to another iGEM team, right?
The next iGEM team will come soon, so
Yeah, so
stay
it's
tuned for that.
Same page, but yeah, it will stay forever probably. Great. So yeah, we have pretty much covered almost everything, but just at the end of this kind of end of this podcast. So if you just mention like if someone, or let's say if a group of students, bachelor or masters, if they want to start iGEM team, then what are the steps? So who they should contact and what are the procedures? So apart from this funding thing, so funding they can, let's say, manage from university or all this funding sources or some funding agencies, but what are other steps, let's say, so making a team, and then is there any registration process or is there any deadline for this?
Yeah, there are registration processes and deadlines, but those are all with iGEM itself. So I would recommend, if you are trying to form a team, get an idea first. Try to see if the idea is viable as such, and once that's done, get a primary investigator or a faculty member or a professor and so on that supports your idea, that will see you through to the end of the project. And with that, you can start registration, you can start acting out on all the deadlines and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do you also have to write a kind of proposal as well about your project?
Not as such, but an abstract. That's the first thing that you have to submit. But in the end, you will essentially you will make an entire website regarding your project. You'll have to present your abstract, your description, your results, what you did, the experts you've contacted with, everything. And I think if a team can do that, they're pretty safe.
And based on that, you will be kind of judged. So in Paris, right?
Yeah.
And there you will meet people from all over the world or only Europe?
You will meet everyone from all over the world.
All over the world. Okay.
We had teams
so you're
from
competing
New Zealand.
with everyone.
Yeah. We had teams from New Zealand, Spain, China, Saudi Arabia, the US, and so forth. They were all in the same, in our same category, so our competitors. But these guys were also extremely nice people. It is honestly a bit of a fever dream, or was a fever dream in Paris, just meeting all the other team members, trying to understand their ideas, and trying to essentially follow and also sympathize with the same frustrations that they also had. It is certainly something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice initiative, this iGEM team, especially for budding scientists who want to continue in research or who want to, let's say, test whether is this field good for me or not.
Absolutely.
Because you go through indeed a kind of a smaller version of these challenges. Because in PhD, in postdoc, or in academia itself, you feel all these challenges every day. And within this short time period of 9 months or 1 year, if you figure it out that, yeah, I can do this for years and years, then yes, academia is for you.
Pretty much, yeah. We had people that found out that they want to do bioinformatics, and they're currently going more into that field than they are into the more wet lab sciences. I, for example, found out that it is actually perfect for me. I love this sort of stress, even though it is a bit too stressful at times. And by that I mean not exactly being able to eat properly and stuff like that, but that is something that's expected. And if I'm being entirely honest, it was all about the journey. All the friends that you made, all the team members, same thing. All of it was amazing. And I would say that if you're a bit conflicted on whether or not you are trying to start an iGEM team, if you have access to funding to start one, do it. Absolutely do it. It's amazing. It's an experience that you will never really forget.
Yeah. And if you have any question regarding, let's say, iGEM or anything as such in project or something, reach out to iGEM Freiburg team maybe you will find all the details on website.
Yeah, it's on our website. It's on Instagram, Twitter.
LinkedIn. Yeah. So feel free to reach out and ask them question. But just to wrap up, one more question I would like to ask, because it's important for us as well. And I would like to ask especially for you because of this science communication. So what's your point of view on science communication? What do you think? Is it important, and why it is important?
I find it is one of the most important things, if I'm being honest, about science in general, that we communicate what we are doing and why we're doing to people, regardless of what their occupation might be. Because if I'm being honest, my family, for example, we're not like, I don't come from a science background. My family is mostly like they go into the direction of economy, of teaching. Well, a few teachers, but nothing like this, I would say. And it is a problem for me to try and explain all of these ideas to them because they sometimes don't understand it. But it is something that we have to do regardless, because science is all about research that is meant to help people. If you don't tell them why you're doing the research or how it's going to help people, then it's essentially pointless.
Yeah, true. Because, I mean, we already do science communication when we publish a paper. So it's only for scientific community. But science communication covers both scientific community as well as non-scientific community.
Absolutely.
Where we simplify this complex science, your complex science, to larger audience who can understand what we are doing in the lab. Because at the end, normal people are paying taxes, and from that tax money, we get funding for our research. So it's our duty to kind of tell them that what kind of research we are doing in the lab, and it will be at least worth it in few years or decade later. Not immediately, but maybe later. Yeah. So yeah, that's all.
Right.
Okay, then, we wrap up this podcast. Thank you very much for taking time from your busy schedule. And yeah, hopefully we will have another conversation, maybe on science communication, or maybe more details on this iGEM project. And just one last question.
Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
So are you guys also planning to continue this project? Because you mentioned that there was some
Issues,
delay in the synthesis part and all this thing. So are you guys want to maybe hand over to another team, or do you guys want to continue altogether?
We're in a bit of a limbo state, I would say, there, because most of us have our courses our courses have already started. For me, for example, I have my exams in December, so I'm unfortunately not able to continue as such. And other students, master's students, for example, who have essentially have this semester sometimes free because of courses that they've missed in the previous semester, they're looking for internships and so on and so forth. So I would say that we would love to continue it, but we'd need the team back above all. We'd also need the funding, and we'd also need the time for that. Something that at this moment doesn't seem all that likely, but perhaps in the future. And of course, if anyone would like to continue our research, you're more than welcome.
So you guys will pass on this project.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah. So that's all. Again, thank you very much for taking time and providing us nice information about iGEM project and about the other things. So
thank you for having me. And thank you to you all for listening.